We can get started. We can get started. So welcome to our Explore the Future of Work webinar this afternoon on Pi Day, March 14th, 2023. This is one of our series of webinars that our professional development committee has organized this spring. And we just wanted to put up this disclaimer that all intellectual property rights entered to the New York School Counselor Association webinars contact and all materials are distributed in connection to the webinar owned by NISCA, and I'm not going to read the whole thing. Our presenter today is from the statewide pre-apprentice program, which I learned a lot about in the last month or so. And her name is Cricket Thomas Odell. She's the coordinator, and she's in mid-snowstorm right now in Albany, in the Albany area. And she's joining us today to talk about the program. We have about 20 participants on now. So if you put questions that you have in the chat box, I'll pay attention to the chat box to make sure that we get to them. Here's our committee members. I'm not sure if our chairperson's on today. Sometimes she comes to the meetings. But I think without further ado, we're going to get started. So I'm going to turn it over to Cricket.
Good afternoon, everyone. And I'm going to start to share my screen as well. Hope this works properly.
There you go.
And are you saying the pre-apprenticeship programs build them and they will come screen?
Yes.
Perfect. Well, thank you all for having me join you on this beautiful snowy day here in upstate New York. As was said earlier, just so you all know, in case anyone didn't hear earlier, yes, we are in mid-nor'easter here in the Albany area. We fortunately have a full house generator here, but the power will go out and it'll take a few minutes for it to generate to connect and then for the internet to reconnect. So if that happens, it's not because I just said, oh, I'm done with you all. It's because we had another power outage. And we have already accumulated a little over 12 inches here where I live. So it is beautiful, snowy upstate New York. As was mentioned, my name is Cricket Thomas Odell. I am the statewide pre-apprentice program coordinator and our director of community engagement here at WDI. What I found when I came on board here at WDI in 2019 was that no one knew about the Workforce Development Institute, myself included. And in fact, it's become quite interesting to see the work that we do. WDI is a statewide organization. We are funded by New York State, but we are not a state entity. We are actually a private, not-for-profit organization that works with all New Yorkers in our mission to strengthen the workforce in New York State. And so we do that by identifying problems that may be out there, looking at workforce trends. We serve as consultants on several workforce development boards, several advisory boards, several career technical education boards. We connect organizations with resources that are needed in terms of if you need to have someone from a certain organization work with you on training, skill building, etc. We do that type of work. We'll pilot new programs, especially when it comes to looking at how to increase workforce readiness, increase workforce intelligence, things like that. Wherever we can do that, we will put those folks together. We facilitate projects by convening partners and leveraging other resources. And we also have what we call our flexible grant funding program, whereby if you need resources, money for equipment, training programs, things like that, we have a grant program that we like to say is the most flexible, user-friendly one that anyone will ever encounter. In fact, the application itself is 4 pages long, and my husband likes to laugh and say, you have a great job. You get to go around and give out money. And yes, I do. Yes, I do. Along the lines of how this resonates with me and being here today with you all, back when I left corporate America, I accidentally fell into higher education and worked for about 10 years, late 80s to late 90s exactly, in the admissions office for my alma mater. And during those 10 years that I was there, I actually got very heavily involved with the Capital District Counselors Association, CDCA. I served on the New York State Association of Counselors, New York State ACAC, New York State Association of Counselors, Admissions Counselors, advisory bid committees. I also served with NACAC, and have been very involved in the whole school counselor area, and so far as actually going through and getting my guidance and counseling degree from Russell Sage College, Sage Graduate School. And so working with school counselors and working with anyone helping to create the awareness building program that we want to have for our students is very near and dear to my heart. So not quite sure how we got connected, but I'm glad that we did get connected, and I have opportunity to be with you all here this afternoon. So what is the statewide pre-apprenticeship program? We are a combination of WDI, which I shared with you before, and the New York State Building and Construction Trades Council, which is a council that covers all. Is there a question?
Yeah, no, I have a question. I wonder if you can change the view, because we're seeing the big slide and then the little next slide.
Oh, sure.
So that we
Thank
see
you.
it. Yeah.
Let me figure that out.
What if you click on the little screen below the big slide?
Does
There you
that
go.
work better?
Yes,
Perfect, thank you. And it's hard to see if I don't have to.
I know. Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Thank you. And so we are, as I said, a combination of my job with WDI and my job also with the New York State Building and Construction Trades Council, and helping to make sure that we build that awareness for what it is that we do with building that strength for New York State workers, specifically focusing on the trades. And here I had to put in a disclaimer. When I came through high school, I had no awareness. No one told me anything about building and construction trades. I was put on that track to go to college. And so that was it. There weren't any options that were made available in terms of, well, do you have an inkling or desire to learn about plumbing or carpentry or steam fitting? And so for me, this is truly the time whereby we are trying to get the message out there. It's not college, just college. It's college and or career, and hopefully helping people understand the opportunities that are available for a career in the building and construction trades. What we do, my position is statewide. So I have the joy of traveling between Buffalo, Long Island, North Country, and everywhere in between, and reaching out to our currently established pre-apprenticeship programs that we have, and also trying to make sure that if there's a need for building up a new one. For instance, in Syracuse, you may have heard that Micron is coming in, and they'll be, looking to have a workforce of 10,000 strong. And so that means that we need to have a workforce development program in place. And how do we do that? Through our statewide pre-apprenticeship program. Why do we do this? It's quite simple for me, as a person of color, as a woman. When I look around the workforce areas that, have construction going on, I tend to look to see who is there. And for the most part, you will not see women, you will not see people of color. So why are we doing this? It's to break down those barriers to help for people of color and women to get into these lucrative, family sustaining, pension, benefit positions that will lead to careers. plain and simple. And how we do that is building those connections, building those bridges, having conversations with folks like you all, so that, again, helping that awareness to get out there, why we do this is key to making this successful. Going back a step in terms of why registered apprenticeship, is important for us. If you look at how registered apprenticeships occurred back in 2012, there was steady growth in that area. And then, we had a bit of a dip, and now we see apprenticeships programs starting to come back into play. And not only in building and construction trades, we're also seeing it in manufacturing and healthcare and other industries as well. When you look at the history of apprenticeships and thinking about how here in America, and again, as a side note, I had the privilege of working for EF Education First for a few years. So I traveled extensively through Europe, where in England in the Middle Ages, when young men and some other trades, whether it be seamstress, cordware, etc., bakers, they were indentured for 7 years to a master craftsman who taught them their trade and accommodated them in their household. That was how apprenticeships were really started. And that is still going on, especially in places like Germany, where apprenticeship is part of your high school curriculum. We don't do that here in the United States. And I think it's a disservice to our students and to those in terms of, again, giving them options and making them aware of what's available for them. Actively, we have apprenticeships by age here to show you that fiscal year ending 2021, there was some growth, again, as we talked about before, but still not enough to meet the workforce demands that we have coming at us. Here in the capital region, we have offshore wind as an industry that's going to require welders, carpenters, plumbers, everything in between. We'll talk more about the different trades that are out there and where is this workforce going to come from. In my travels throughout New York State and meeting with the different trades and different training facilities, they themselves are saying that, unfortunately, whatever happened, back in 2012, we need to reinvent that and get it out there again so that people understand that this is opportunity for folks to have, as we said before, family sustaining wages. An apprenticeship, just so you all know, average starting salary for completing a registered apprenticeship is $77,000. So imagine being able to go through an apprenticeship program whereby you're paid to learn, earn as you learn, as we like to say it, because during your apprenticeship program, and some of them are 4 years, some of them are 5 years, you are receiving a pay, you're receiving a salary, you have benefits, you're not incurring any debt. And when you complete your registered apprenticeship program, average starting salary is $77,000. It's a career to financial stability. Our pre-apprenticeship program is pretty structured, and that is a set of program services designed for individuals to be able to enter, get all the skills that they need, get everything they need to have as far as being able to sit for some of the exams that occur, and have those individuals meet the entry requirements so that they can be placed and prepared to be successful in their apprenticeship that they choose. And again, we'll talk more about some of the different trades that are available. But when we put together a pre-apprenticeship program, we want to make sure that it has all the curriculum that's needed, and we utilize a specific program for that. We'll talk about that in a second. But we also want to make sure that the wraparound services, because again, we may be talking about individuals who are coming from communities whereby there have been challenges. Now, we have heard about the child care issue that occurred during the pandemic, whereby we had the she session, which was a term that was coined back then because when the daycare centers closed, who had to come home and take care of the children? The bulk of that fell on the female. And so we want to make sure that when we're getting women into the trades, that childcare is not going to be an issue, whether it be for a male or a female. We will make sure that there aren't going to be issues when it comes to transportation, emergency housing, license repair, all of these things that we have to take a look at, making sure that, again, having the individuals coming into this program have all the skill sets and supportive services to be successful. Some of the programs that I've had the pleasure of working with and being a part of, I'm going to share with you here. The Pathways to Apprenticeship program in Syracuse, they are a model program. They're actually on their 5th cohort right now. They have graduated 93 individuals in the Syracuse area. And here is a photo of the last graduation that I attended. And at the podium here, each of the individuals who graduate, they receive this as a toolkit so that they, again, we're going to send them out there having everything they need to be successful. No one will not be able to go to a job assignment or to a site because they don't have boots, they don't have a hat, they don't have the tools that are needed for them to be successful at that job site. In Newburgh area, Hudson Valley, we have a program called Build and Beyond. This program, the last graduation program, it was so exciting because they had 6 young women, 6 women graduate from this program. So again, our goal being to break down barriers and get more women into the program. 6 of them came into this program, graduated, and have gone into the bricklayers, electricians, carpenters, and laborers as trades. And then Opportunities Long Island, I spent some time down on Long Island actually last week and met with the program down there. Their program going strong as well. They started in 2014. They had graduated a class every year since then, between 18 and 20 individuals. And they go into the fields such as ornamental iron workers, sheet metal workers, structural iron workers, and seam fitters, just to name a few. And again, pictures tell the story in terms of these folks coming into a program, coming into a field, industry that, unbeknownst to them, it's going to change their lives. And so when you go to these graduation programs, you get to feel it from them because they are there with their family members. They are there with their children, their spouses, and everyone is so excited for what's going to happen in their life. We believe that our SPAP program, as we call it for short, adopts a worker-centric approach because in our programs, we make sure that empowerment, fostering inclusion and cultivating belonging, promoting an environment of shared learning, all of this and providing timely feedback is important to making sure that when you come into a pre-apprenticeship program, you come out and you're going to be successful. There are numerous training programs out there. I'm sure each and every one of us has come across them in their professional development lives or even, helping other people to get connected to them. What good is it to go through a training program if you're not going to be able to take what you learned right away and put it into practice? And so for us, that's the key, making sure that these programs, when it comes to empowerment, our apprentices, they learn how to work autonomously where possible, but we also encourage collaboration so that additionally, they learn to be paid, to be educated, and accomplishment that you won't find it in very many programs. When it comes to inclusion and belonging, these elements are important because organizations need to foster a feeling of acceptance. As I said before, our goal is to break down those barriers for women and people of color who for a long time, to be quite honest, were kept out of these trades, were kept out of these programs. So now bringing them into them and using terms such as brothers and sisters during union meetings and other organized labor gatherings creates a strong sense of kindred and solidarity. And then when it's shared learning, you have our apprentices who go from apprentice 1, 2, 3, 4, sometimes 5, but then you become a journey person. And those journey persons act as mentors as well. We also have a program called Sisters in a Brotherhood, whereby strictly for women, and those women have a strong sense of mentorship, whereby they all work together and make sure that if your first year, I'm going to put you together with someone else from second year and make sure that you all are there together to get through this program because it's not easy. It's not easy. Diversity, equity, enclusion. I think each and every one of us on this call today have had or maybe are currently involved in. I know I chair our Diversity, Equity, Inclusion Committee here at WDI. Union construction careers, they're great careers. They offer great pay and benefits, but what's overlooked is the fact that their diversity, equity, inclusion, particularly in the leadership positions, are still mostly filled by white men. And so one of the keys and goals is to make sure that we can move folks into leadership positions as well, so that we can have an inclusive, more representative workforce. The 2020 data from our U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics shows that for Blacks, African Americans, it only accounts for a small percentage still of the workforce. And when we look at those numbers, we have to make sure that we can change those to make sure that we're representing the right workforce. I mentioned earlier that we want to make sure that we integrate and address advanced job quality. We utilize a curriculum called MC3. It's been vetted by NABTU, which is a National Association of Building Trades Union, and this curriculum goes into each of our pre-apprenticeship programs to make sure that, again, everyone's learning what they should be learning. They have construction, industry, and trades orientation, tools and materials, the construction, health, and safety, which includes the OSHA 10, which is very important for safety reasons, blueprint reading, basic math for construction, heritage of the American worker, diversity, green construction, and financial literacy. Now, that's just the basic. Each of our pre-apprenticeship programs can add on courses as well. I know in our Newburgh program, they have a solar portion they're adding to their curriculum. And other places are adding portions that go outside of the, if you will, construction world, but add things such as how to fix your license. I said there's been a term for that, license fixture, but this helping them to make sure that they have the basic format of what's needed to be successful. The curriculum is traditionally taught face-to-face, but of course with the pandemic, and we were talking earlier about how to learn how to teach online, this is also available online through our learning management system with NABTU. The impact that this statewide pre-apprenticeship program has generated has been phenomenal, especially when we look at the fact that we have, from one of our programs, Construction Skills, which began in 2001, over 2,000 apprentices and 1,600 of them remaining actively employed. When you look at that data, you look at the fact that we have so much more, as we said at Shaw in our earlier data, to fill in that pipeline. That's a good start, but of course, we need more. There's a program in New York City, which I'm very, very excited when I go to visit with them. It's called NEW, which stands for Non-Traditional Employment for Women, another pre-apprenticeship program that's strictly for women. And it helps to have those women who are, again, coming from marginalized communities, never knew about this opportunity to become involved in a career. This allows us to build a bridge for them into a community and also, again, giving a family sustaining wage in a career. They have, since 1978, graduated and put in place 3,500 plus tradeswomen in industry careers. A phenomenal program. When you go in your front door, you'll see the cement in the, what I call the Lowe's and Home Depot buckets, and there's dried cement in there, so it's about 60 pounds. The first thing you have to do is be able to pick up those buckets and walk them up the stairs. And there's 2 long flights of stairs to the admin office. If you can do that, you pass your first test. Best practices and strategies, because that's what it's all about. Yes, we like to have individual programs based upon individual needs in every area. What we do here in Albany is not the same as what we do in Buffalo and Long Island and the North Country. But what we found and what we want to share with folks to make sure that, again, if you just put these things in place here, you will be successful. So 7 best practices are making sure that your pre-apprenticeship program should be between 8 and 11 weeks. So that could be either you have them there every day from 7 to 3:30, Monday through Friday, or you do it in the evenings. You do it half a day, but no more than 8 to 11 weeks should be your program. It should expose the individuals to multiple trades to give them opportunities to explore various options. I, for one, I don't like heights. So to put me in a trade whereby I have to be on a scaffold would not be a good idea. But, when it comes to carpentry or plumbing and things like that, that'd be cool in that area. So again, you need to have them have exposure to the different trades that are out there, and we'll see all the different ones that are out there in a few minutes. You should most definitely include the MAD2 curriculum, which we saw earlier. Hands-on learning must be included in this program, visiting construction sites, and combine that with visits from the different representatives from different trade unions, so they can speak to them directly about what their expectations are for that particular local, that particular union. There are hard skills. We saw that in the curriculum before in terms of basic tools, mechanical things like that, how to read a tape measure. Those are the things that they have to learn for the trade. They're also what folks call, and I don't like the term soft, so I put foundation skills in there that include how to work with others, time management, conflict resolution, problem solving, critical thinking, all these things that we believe, and we teach from the counselor perspective as well. Accountability, constructive criticism, as well as financial literacy. And those foundational skills are key. And there are some programs that actually have a separate course that focuses on just those specifically, because again, you may be dealing with individuals coming from communities, coming from backgrounds whereby that's not the norm for them. And so we have to make sure that when they go onto a job site, that they know that they're going to have to deal with some type of constructive criticism because you're a first-year apprentice. You're going to catch some bit of, I would say, lack of understanding in terms of maybe how people should talk to you. So how do you handle that? Things like that are really important, making sure that folks who are going through our pre-apprenticeship programs to become apprentices have access to that. We recommend stipends because, again, transportation may be an issue for folks if you're not used to or had to drive. But when you become a part of the construction industry, you have to have a reliable vehicle, because you could be in a job site in one place in the morning, finish that up, and then be asked to go over to another job site in a locale, a half hour, an hour away. And they aren't typically on bus routes. So you have to have a reliable vehicle. And so we make sure that when it comes to pre-screening, that some of the folks who may need assistance with getting a vehicle, we do the license repair. We have them work with car dealers and other financial institutions to help them get, just a basic vehicle that's going to get you from point A to point B. And in some cases, we've had to have emergency housing in place. So one of the things that's important, and I should stress it probably in a separate bullet, is that having connections to community-based organizations, whereby all of these things are already in place. I would bet that in each and every one of your locations, you know of or know that there are supportive services in an organization that will provide emergency housing, emergency childcare, transportation, things like that. So it's key to make sure those connections are made as well. And that, again, is a best practice of strategy when you're having a statewide pre-apprenticeship program in your area. And the certifications should minimally include the OSHA 10, which a lot of folks now are having the participants graduate with OSHA 30 and CPR training. As I say, a picture is worth 1,000 words. And so I'm going to make sure I do this correctly. I want to share with you our statewide pre-apprentice video. And I'll get to that. And what are we seeing on the screen right now? Can someone share that with me?
A lot of little boxes.
I seen that I wasn't.
Are you seeing the video? Not yet.
Not yet.
This is the fun part.
Excited for the future, and I.
Is the video showing yet?
Yes.
Perfect.
I seen that I wasn't getting anywhere. I didn't want to live like that anymore. I didn't know that there were other things that can help you get ahead in life.
Now
Being in
it's,
the pre-apprenticeship program
No,
was
it's
the
not.
best.
We can
Robert,
hear
you're
it,
saying
but
no?
we can just see a screen that says, a career in construction trades can change your life,
Okay.
not the video.
it showed the speaker briefly and then it went to this screen.
Yeah.
Screen share.
No, you're sharing. There you go.
Decision I ever made. Every day I'm learning something new. It's just a blessing and it's fun.
Pre-apprenticeship program is set up for anybody. It's a big benefit for people of color, low income, women, people that are serious about wanting a career.
Apprenticeship programs in the construction industry create a pathway for individuals to get into the middle class. And we intend to demonstrate this year after year, grow our diversity, create more opportunity for people to have family sustaining careers.
One of the best parts of the program is you don't need experience. You could come in with no idea what you want to do or what trade you want to go with. But once you get in, they'll give those different options to make a better decision of where you want to go.
Before I got into the pre-apprentice program, I knew little to nothing. From the first week, I was excited for the future and I knew that I wanted to get through this program and go out to work. I was a little nervous to be a woman when I first walked in. There was 2 other women on the job with me and the men honestly make me feel very welcomed and I feel like one of them. I've gotten stronger even from 3 months ago. I'm amazed at what my body can do. I can do everything a guy can do.
This is our outreach, our workforce development effort to make sure that those folks, specifically women, people of color, who've never been exposed to building construction trades as a career, as opportunity, now know that it's available. What's make this training particularly strong is that it is a well-vetted, comprehensive curriculum. It's been approved and certified by NAT2, North American Building Trades Unions, and we call it the MC3 curriculum, the multi-craft core curriculum. And so within that 120 hours of curriculum, there are things such as construction awareness, tools and materials, financial literacy. You have all the skill sets that are necessary to be successful in going from a pre-apprentice to becoming an apprentice.
When I got into the pre-apprentice program, I was real surprised by how down to earth the teachers were. I'd say it's way different than a regular like high school or college. They've been in the field before, and some of them are still in the field every once in a while. They're regular people just like you. I get to change a group of people's lives. I get to take them from something that they weren't happy with and see what else is out there. The sky's the limit in the next 10 years in construction. I got serious about being an electrician. I like to work with my hands. It wasn't just a job. It was more of a career. My life has changed. I'm more financially stable. I'm able to put a kid through college, take care of my family, buy a house, new car. I would probably still be on the outside looking in. If it wasn't for the pre-apprenticeship program, I had no clue where to start and what direction to take.
If you've got that desire, and really 90%, especially with pre-apprentices and apprentices, it's just showing up. If you show up every day and have a good attitude, we can teach you the rest.
I feel very excited and happy about my future because I know from here, the only way to go is up. I'm just prospering each and every day. It's definitely a blessing.
The end of an apprenticeship program, when an individual becomes a journey person, the sense of knowledge, the sense of pride, the quality of the work and skill that they possess, second to none in any other industry.
Joining the pre-apprenticeship program actually gave me hope and opportunities.
I'm in the operating junior hall and I love it.
If I could do it, you could do it too.
Everything is possible as long as you put your mind to it.
And we'll go back to this. Are we back on the other screen now? And someone give me a heads up of what we're seeing,
Small PowerPoint. Yep.
where it says construct your future.
Yes.
Excellent. And so again, that's our promotional video that you just saw that we just completed Well, actually, end of last year that we've been sharing with folks. What I also wanted to share with you was the Construct Your Future slide, because here, as I said earlier, it talks about all the different types of trades that are available. And for myself, again, it's been a learning experience, you know, from boilermakers to bricklayers on through the different 15 that we have here, sheet metal workers. On this site, Construct Your Future for careers, if you are a school counselor and you have a student who's interested in learning about how to go perhaps into the building and construction trades, this sheet here, this site here provides you with not only if you want to know what a boilermaker does, but also tells you how much, you know, the starting salary can be up to, all the information that's needed in terms of, hey, I may want to consider that. So a great site that we use when we're out talking to folks as well about what's available when it comes to the building and construction trades. So out of here, and we'll go back. Questions?
Yeah, I'm seeing, oh, go ahead.
You, in the video and in some of the materials, you talk about the entry level exams that young people would need to take. And it reminds me of the AccuPlacer that used to be done for two-year colleges, may still be done for some. I was wondering if there were a way, if we wanted to get a sense of making sure that our young people have the skill sets that they need to be referred. Is there a place for us to find information about that?
In terms of if there's
of the areas that they would be tested on?
Yes, each local, as we call them, do things a little bit differently, but for the most part, if there's going to be an exam, like to get into the electricians, the place to find that out would be to go to that local that's near your school district to find out. And in most cases, they provide you with study courses to help you prepare for that exam. That is one of the toughest ones that is out there.
Thank you.
In other ways, again, working directly with the training directors at a local, and what we're finding here in Albany, our local BOCES, the Capital Region BOCES, is very strong connection to several of our schools, several of our career technical education schools, and they'll provide opportunities for training on how to take the exams, how to be prepared for the interview, and things like that.
That's great. Thank you. I see you have a lot of questions in the chat, so I'll mute.
Yeah, we're getting some questions. Let's see, we'll start at the top. Can this program expand to other parts of the county? I'm in Otsego County.
Yes, it can expand. What we do is we work with the local building and construction trades union out in your county. And I'd have to go to my map to figure out who it is. I want to say it's got to be my buddy Greg Lanzette. And so the first step is to make sure that we connect with that local building and construction trades council. We meet with them because, as I said earlier, it makes no sense to provide or create a pre-apprenticeship program if there's not a big project coming along, if there's not going to be a construction boom in your area, so that once they get through the pre-apprenticeship program, they can go right into work. We don't want to have them, you know, go through a pre-apprenticeship program, become an apprentice, and then sit the bench.
Do you do presentations for middle school career days?
Yes, I do. If my schedule allows, I definitely like to get out there. As I said earlier in previous life, I was for 10 years, I did college and recruitment. So I've traveled, my territory was downstate and all of Long Island. So yes, I'm used to going to schools a great deal.
Cool. Are there supports for students with disabilities in the apprenticeships?
Not right now, because of the scope of work that's required in the building and construction trades. Students with disabilities, it depends on the disability. I mean, if we're talking something that's cognitive, then maybe something that can be worked with. But when it comes to physical, the the scope of work doesn't have it in place right now whereby students or individuals with disabilities would be successful in that industry.
Is this program available for NYC DOE students?
NYCOD.
Department of Ed.
It's available for everyone.
So there are pre-apprenticeship programs in New York City.
Oh, absolutely. I spent a lot of time with our P2A apprenticeships to programs. Construction skills is out of New York City. The new programs out of New York City, again, that's for older individuals, but yes, there are plenty of pre-apprenticeship programs in New York City.
Which kind of is a question that's not here, but I think it leads to another one. Are the students who go into pre-apprenticeship programs high school graduates already?
Some are not.
Some are
Depends
in high
on the
school already?
program.
Okay, some might be still in high school.
Correct.
Ah, okay. And so what's the relationship between this program and we have a lot of students who are in BOCES already?
Mhm. The connection is that we create the pipeline so that once they get through the BOCES program and through that CTE curriculum, they can go right into an 8-week pre-apprenticeship program whereby they have a more focused structure, look into the trades, and then they get to pick the trade of their choice and go right into becoming an apprentice.
I'm a high school counselor. Sometimes I have students come back after college or after their first year of college and because it's not working out. Are there opportunities for them to get started in apprenticeships without having a pre-apprenticeship program?
Yes, there is. The pre-apprenticeship programs, though, are designed for those 16 to 40 years old. So depending on where they are in terms of their knowledge about the trades, they could go right into apprentice. But our pre-apprenticeship programs have direct entry status with them through Department of Labor. So we make sure that if you go through a pre-apprenticeship program, then you'll get direct entry into their apprenticeship program. If you don't come through a pre-apprenticeship program, you have to get online, so to speak, and have your name put on that list.
So they sound like they'd be a good candidate for your program.
Mhm.
I am hosting a trade fair at my high school on 4/26. Is there any support you could offer?
Well, it depends on where you're
That's pretty
located.
specific.
So
That's
I was
pretty
gonna
specific.
say, I'm gonna,
I'm located in Red Hook, so we're just south of Albany, but and we have quite a few people coming, but I just don't know. I've been very interested in what you've had to say, and I know a lot of it's already offering support to the trade fair, but yeah, we think it's important and we're excited to do it.
I put up my contact information, so send me an email and then my calendar is open. Or the beauty about the way we're structured here at WDI is that I cover the state, but in each region, we have 9 regions throughout New York State. So we'll have a regional director, so someone who covers a specific, county area. That person may be available to come in if I'm not available.
Does your organization collaborate with Access-VR, ACCES-VR?
Yes, I have been, prior to taking this position, when I was strictly here in the capital region, on several meetings with Access VR. And so I know of who they are, what they do. We collaborate with everyone when it comes to helping to strengthen the workforce. That's what we do as part of making sure that, being at the table, being able to provide, that consult, provide resources, put connections together. Yes.
That's all the questions right now.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
My pleasure.
That's all the questions right now.
Excellent. Well, as I said, my contact information is here. If any other questions come up afterwards, or if someone, if your folks have asked, for me to, if I'm available to come to the career and fair, or I'm seeing a lot more women in the trades fairs popping up, just please reach out. We'd love to be able to, again, help people to know about this opportunity, especially as we're looking to, create the future workforce, one that's more representative, more inclusive. We want to make sure we can build bridges to the communities, within our school districts and our school systems, and also to the trades. and just, create that pipeline to high road quality jobs, with the building and construction trades. So thank you again for having me. And I don't know if there is another part of the program or.
No, this is it for today. And thank you. The one question that is always asked is, are you going to send the PowerPoint? So
Oh, sure.
I'll ask it on behalf of everybody.
I will
okay.
definitely send you the presentation. I'll send it right to you.
Yep.
Perfect.
And I'll get it out. So thank you, Cricket, for sharing your time with us and your knowledge. It's great. I learned a lot today. Are we getting in attendance? Yeah, let me do this. Okay, you can stop sharing and I'll share my screen.
Okay.
Okay, so this is our committee. I will send out tomorrow a certificate of attendance, a link to the video. It says, "Thank you, Tim, for your presentation." I didn't change that slide. Anyway, I'll send out the PowerPoint and any other information that I have for this. These are our upcoming webinars. We have curriculum webinars next week, elementary on Tuesday, middle level on Wednesday, and high school on Thursday. And lots more coming up. The Professional Development Committee had a meeting on Sunday, and they're cooking up a lot of stuff, including vaping, and all kinds of other things that are very interesting. So stay tuned. As you know, we'll tell you on all our emails. Lots more information on. Slides keep changing.
Can I put a plug in for?
Yes.
Not so much for vaping, but at WDI, we have initiated the Cannabis Workforce Initiative, CWI. And so we have a full-blown actual department, if you will, that is focusing on cannabis as an industry, and to make sure that, again, people go into this industry knowing everything there is to know, whether it be how to be a bud tender, how to tell the difference between different strains, retail operations, all the ancillary services that are available when it comes to the cannabis industry. And so I'm sure I can, if you want to have someone do a presentation on that, I would have you reach out to my colleague and have that set up.
I'm writing it down. Cool. So here's the slide with the more information. Unless there's any more questions, do we have any other questions? Let me check the last. Thank you. Oh, thank you. Okay. So you'll see that Cricket has provided her contact information on the last slide, which you'll get tomorrow, and you can contact her with any specific questions. So without further ado, I'm going to thank Cricket again and give you 8 minutes of your life back.
Thank you. Bye, you guys.
Thank you, Cricket.
Thank
you. Appreciate it.
Good luck with your electricity, Cricket.
Thank you. We're good. Thank God.